All right, welcome to episode 9 of Crucible Boot Camp. I'm your host, King Koala, and today we're going to be doing another multi-view scrim, except instead of 6 points of views, we're just going to have two, one on either side. This was sent to me from someone on the Slack, a user by the name of Solomon Kane, 777, and the opposing side will be Tyrant Potato, and they were doing, they had their semifinals scrim match league match that they both recorded and sent to me. It's a skirmish match on Burning Shrine, and it's a pretty good match. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, so let's go ahead and get started. So Burning Shrine's an interesting map because you can basically separate it into a 3x3 tic-tac board, which I'll show you guys later. But it really affects how you control the map and how you can approach the different zones. So he has a lot of like really good grenade placements where it really utilizes the power of the area denial of the storm grenade. You can't really just walk through it without putting yourself absolute. So I really like how he defensively places his grenades and then immediately backs off. He does this quite a bit. It's a very nice touch. The problem here that their team finds is that they're not so great at pushing. And you saw there that his teammate was challenging without any support. And he obviously relayed that he just thrown down that storm grenade and someone was coming behind him. So he's in a really bad spot because he's getting pinched from behind and he really has no escape route now. So it's really dangerous to maneuver around bridge like this on Burning Shrine. So he tries running away, which is good. And Potato misses his first shot, but gets him with the second. It would have been in his best interest to probably float up and try to shoot him above him. But that's a pretty hard spot to get put into right off the bat. So remember last time how we talked about off spawn, you want to try to regain control of the map. You can see that they don't stay in the same place for very long. He tries to rotate around. As a sniper, that shot that he just missed are the kind of shots that you need to be taking as a sniper. This is a sweat match, so it's going to play a lot faster than what most people are used to. So you don't really have time to line up a second shot. The opponents you play against generally have better gun skill than your average player in the Crucible. So you really only have time for that one shot. As you can see, he was absolute, and if you don't make the shot, you need to immediately back up and reposition. He has a nice head glitch on these stairs. And again, he's just rotating around. He's pretty far away from his teammates, so if his teammates get pushed, he's not going to be there to support. And here he gets tagged by a lightning grenade. He says, I'm weak. I'm going to pull back. So he pulls back. He's constantly pulling back to his teammates. Back into cover, back to his teammates. So right here, he sees that the Titan came out after tagging him with that lightning grenade. Once he hops up here, he should be anticipating that the Titan come outside and have his sniper out, at least get a body shot off, because if you relay that to your teammates, they can rotate to you and support. If they don't, then something like this happens, where if he had a sniper out there and bodied him, he would have had a much better chance of killing him. Instead, he just kind of dies for free. So he jumps up. He sees that there's no Axion Bolt right here. This is when he should take out his sniper rifle at this very moment. And to the right, you have a little bit of cover, so you can use that to your advantage. Also, because of the height difference and the way perspective works, if he backs away from this area, just backs up, he is less and less of his body will be exposed. So you actually get a head glitch just by moving backwards and creating pseudo cover based on the perspective of you versus your opponent. So you saw him blip on the left. you can kind of guess if you're getting shot at over here, he's going to move down to the right. So if he has a sniper out, this is a great opportunity for when he finally peeks out on here. And he's not even looking anymore. So he just kills both of them for free. It's good play on Potato's part. But it's very poor awareness from Solomon. So you know they're outside, so when you come off spawn like this, you kind of have to decide how you're going to protect yourself from the enemy team pushing into you. Normally, and this is something he's going to do the entire match, you don't want to push back into them and close the gap for them. Everyone on the enemy team is running a shotgun. And this is the issue that a lot of snipers have in sweats, is that if you don't move, then you're going to run the risk of getting swarmed, and you can't stay hard scoped for very long. So you saw him reposition back onto C flag, and that's a nice shot, but it's pretty hard to make against the guy with the Juggernaut shield. He gets tagged by a lightning grenade again, but instead of staying and challenging, he runs away, which is good. And he's with his teammates. You see him constantly pull back to his teammates. This is perfect. This is what you want to do if you're not a disruptor, like Namlet was in the last video. He's constantly going for flanks. If you're a team player, you can push out on your own, and if you start losing gunfights, you have to be aware of where your exits are to pull back in, to go back into cover and to help your teammates support you and for you to support your teammates. He takes a really, really good shot. I would have taken the shot even if the only purpose was to break the Juggernaut shield, and that's because I'm with my teammate. So having that supportive fire means that every shot I take is twice as effective. And he has a nice backpedal there. And again, he has these challenges where he's completely in the open. So he just got away. He's down here, and this is a head glitch. He knows someone's over there because he can see it on radar. There's someone over here on bridge, and there's someone back in your initial. So knowing this, you're already on a head glitch, and this is good cover. You have good escape routes. Really, your main concern being in this position is being flanked through B. And that isn't even that bad, considering you can just kill your way around and still have cover from the person pushing you from your initial. Your initial as in your initial spawn. So he never really needed to push up past this point. He could have taken out his sniper and just waited. But instead he pushes up to challenge, and he's completely open, whereas Godfather can dip back into cover. So he created a situation where he had the advantage, and he had the chance to get a free kill, basically, or to at least get a body shot on him to put him out of the fight. But instead, he just kind of walked into him. So he doesn't stay hardscope for very long. That's good. Wait, check your radar, see where they're coming. And that's a good reaction shot to reading your radar properly. This is a situation where if you see someone blip on your radar and you want to pull them into you around these corners like this, it's okay to stay standing up. But something that Solomon struggles with throughout this match is he never really slides very much, and he doesn't use the fact that his range of engagement that a sniper rifle gives him means that he needs to pull people around corners by creating radar traps. If they're really far away, it's in your favor to actually crouch while you're hard scoped, because you're going to dip out of radar. The enemy player is going to think that you're further away than you really are, or that you've actually left. So they're going to push into you around that corner. But by standing straight up, eventually a good opponent will know exactly where you are, or the general vicinity of where you are, and know how to avoid that line of traffic that they want you to go into. So he goes to protect his teammate, and Potato just slide shotguns everybody. So they're starting to lose momentum on this match. You can already see they're 900 points behind. They spawn together and they move in together. Then they're moving to support. This is good that they're moving to support their teammates, and they're closing the gap with each other rather than just one side running to the other. It's both sides are running towards each other. So they're trying to get angles, but they aren't really. They're pushing for these angles where they're in corners, and it's easier for the enemy to check them than it is for them to check the enemy. This is a really risky push because you know they're on back heavy, but you also know that the explodey box is still up. And if you ever want to push into B, you should probably shoot the explodey box so you don't get hazard paid. As you can see, they shot the explodey box in the back. So really nice challenge there. Backpedal, and he makes sure he has that melee up for free kill. So right here you see that Tyrant has used his smash, and our hero Solomon Kane is running Stormcaller, which means that that's one super you no longer have to worry about. That's probably the scariest super, honestly, as a Stormcaller to worry about, is Fist of Havoc. There's a Voidwalker in the other team as well, but that one is a little easier to predict. Whereas Smash, if they're running Death from Above, it's a lot harder to blink past. And you see, he's close to super. So this is a good opportunity for him to pop it right when it comes up. So he gets Axiom Bolted, so he runs and turns as it dies. You couldn't hear it, but there was a Stormcaller super that was popped, and that's why that tether was shot down. And even though he ran away, he turns back to support after the tether, and he gets 2 kills. And double res, which is nice. It's a really nice play. So this is one of those times where with the overshield, you should be pushing for position instead of pushing for a res. And you can see his teammate is right behind him, trying to support. So at this point, that momentum that you just gained by getting a team wipe, you can't do anything with because you can't set up for where the enemy team is going to push. Now you can only do what you've been doing the whole match, and that's wait for them to come into you. So, like I said before, if you get a team wipe on a res, on a non-elimination match, you send one guy to get a res, you pick him up, and the guy that picked up the first guy goes and runs off and gets an angle. The guy you just picked up goes and picks up the last teammate. In this situation, the angle of just hopping onto bridge and covering any push into B because the exploding box is still there is pretty solid. You can even go all the way back from special to cover that and kind of bait them in. You can still use that to your advantage. You see someone over here. He attacks him with Storm, but he gets hit twice with Lightning Grenade. This is okay that he's pulling back into teammates because you know that your teammate is coming in for a flank. So they get that kill for free. And we'll see from Tyrant's point of view, but Tyrant, this match is playing the Disruptor. He's constantly flanking, he's constantly moving to get angles, and it kind of bites them in the end for reasons that I'll explain later. Like, his play was solid, but how it was utilized by the team wasn't so great. Alright, so you spawned outside. And again, this is one of those angles that you should be challenging with your sniper. Kind of pulled out late. It's a nice body shot. Some good team shots right there. This is when you should be pushing in as a team. You don't want to hardscope this corner. I mean, I know they're shotgunners, but you need to be pushing in through here as a team. Even if they shotgun you, your teammate should be able to clean them up, especially if they're running a shotgun as well. Instead, he kind of pokes around, and you know that there's an orb in B, so you're not even really covering the res. You're not really covering anything from this angle. You want to push all the way in. You can read your radar. You don't need to be hardscoped up there. At the position he was in, too, he's set up to be the flanker, or at least to get a 1v1. And it was a good opportunity for him to actually push through and to try to get behind the enemy team. And it's really powerful with the sniper because you normally have time for 2 shots if you flank someone, which is a lot of time compared to the barely get off 1 shot that you're used to as a sniper. Again, constantly upright. Potato knew exactly where he was just by sitting there, standing upright. So you saw that there were two people there and he didn't have smash. That's a great opportunity for you to pop storm and just run into them. Or pop storm and then blink sideways to bait out the Nova Bomb. I have a timestamp and he actually got his super at 4:52, and you see we're 7 minutes in and he still hasn't used his super. So now any window that you had to actually use your super offensively, it's pretty easy to shut down. Again, he gets pinched because his teammates run inside. I kind of leave him alone. They're going to push that corner, so you have an opportunity to super into them. But again, just he doesn't. They whiff a Nova Bomb. So he covers the flank there. That's a nice play. They're spread out very nicely as a team. That's a very nice snipe there. It's a good reaction snipe to the situation. And the last guy's probably backing out on B. So you know they're going to spawn outside, so you should be aggressively pushing to get an angle from someone moving inside from the sun. His teammates aren't doing a good job of that. He's not doing a good job of that. They're just kind of playing, let's wait for them to show up and hopefully we'll win our gunfights, instead of being proactive about controlling the map. So they're pretty much on the back foot this entire match. He finally pops the super and blinks right into the Nova Bomb. Like, the idea here was really good. You wanted to pop it and then blink past him. But against a Nova Bomb, I would never blink in because they can just aim at their feet and kill you. But I liked the idea behind it. I can respect the try. He even says in the audio, you know, I was trying to blink past him. So again, this is the first time in the entire map that he's actually on the head glitch outside. He's not out of cover. You know, he can cover both sides. His teammates are there to support him. He goes on the other head glitch, gets a double body on Tyrant, which is really, we'll see in a minute from Tyrant's point of view. I'll put a side-by-side down, but Tyrant kind of gets a flank and then just waits there instead of pushing out, especially after he's absolute. Again, he's on the head glitch and he's just covering. He's just covering these pushes into his teammates. This is how you should be playing if you're going to play the map passively. These kind of plays that you just made where you waited for them to come to you and you utilized your cover and your space between your teammates to get those kills. That's if you're not going to push a team aggressively, you need to trap them. You need to let them push into you the same way that you would have pushed into them if you're an aggressive team. So if you do want to end up playing passive, that's how you should do it. Again, really nice defensive grenade there. You can't get pushed anymore. So he goes for the challenge. He knew he just got a res, so it's a pretty weak challenge because it's going to take you at least an extra shot with your Ice Luna to finish him off. If he didn't have an overshield there, he just could have got a quick pop on his head and then follow-up melee. Here, he was just so focused on challenging here that he got completely blindsided by Potato. It's kind of an interesting way that happened because you knew that he was in B and you spawned right outside. So obviously the quickest point from you to where Potato was is a straight line. I'm not surprised that it happened, but it's kind of questionable whether it should have in the first place. So I really don't like starting gunfights with grenades when you're out in the open. You just barely misses the snipe. But in those situations, you should either be taking a reaction shot with your sniper rifle or just challenging straight up with your primary. That grenade is going to result in a trade at best most of the time. He got lucky and just the turf missed most of his shots, but in most situations, that kind of grenade midair right in the open is going to get you killed. You see him finally get a slide out. That's what you should be doing moving around the map. Slide, slide, sprint, slide, slide, sprint. Just constantly doing that. So that's the kind of time you have to make those sniper shots. You don't necessarily need to get a headshot there. A lot of people think that you're only going to be a good sniper if you can hit headshots, but it can be very effective and very scary if you're the kind of sniper that constantly hits the body really consistently, really quickly, because you push someone completely out of the fight. And if your teammates if you're the kind of player that sticks around your teammates, it's very powerful because you don't have to follow up with any kind of shot if your teammate is just going to help a team fire. So he gets 2 and someone's around the corner. You know he has a shotgun, and you know you don't have a last word. You can't really kill the shotgunner very quickly. You have your melee up, so all you really need is a headshot. So pushing this corner is really dangerous. He gets really lucky he doesn't die here. And then Tyrant makes a mistake and doesn't pull out his primary, because if he pulled out his primary, he would have died. So it looks like a good play, but it was actually a really risky, arguably poor play. That's something a lot of people wouldn't notice looking at the footage themselves, because you'd say, hey, I ended up with a kill. It was successful for me. But it didn't really do much for you. So Tyrant misses his smash there. He just hits the edge. The thing about Storm Trance is you don't want to walk into people. You still want to create that distance, and the distance on the actual super is pretty long. You can see that he got killed by a melee. He could have been all the way out. I'll try to change his point of view. I can show you exactly where he should be. Popping it here is good. You want to pop into cover and you want to be able to blink around. Okay, so he's going to smash up here. Out here, where I'm circling, that's where you should be challenging with your super. Because you can blink backwards into cover or sideways. Or forwards back into cover if you kill the guy that's on heavy. You don't want to push so close and get meleeed like that. But his teammates don't follow him, which is really bad on his teammates' part. If someone pops the super and they're saying, I'm going here, you have one of two options. You have go to the place that the enemy team is going to move to, so you pinch them, and you effectively say you're either going to go through my gun or that super behind you, or you push out with them and you just surround whoever's outside. And then you put it on them to just run away, and you can team fire them in the back. You see the score is really close. So they end up winning that gunfight outside. They get the res. They only need one more kill. In this position, if I'm the enemy team, I'm grouping up because we only need 2 kills and they only need 1. Trading just isn't going to cut it. So team firing is going to be key here. You have 20 seconds, so you need to devise a play and execute it immediately. You know that the enemy team has been split up for most of the game, so you should kind of know how they're going to play. You got a sniper off covering an angle. You got 2 guys together. So that means you can push out. You can just completely push out one side of the map as a team and team fire whoever's there. But instead, one guy decides to be a hero. That person is Godfather, and he just kind of walks into them. Very anticlimactic. So before we get into what it looked like from the other point of view, my final notes basically say that you had a really good job repositioning after your snipes. I really appreciate looking at that because it shows that you're comfortable using your sniper in high pressure situations because you only have time to take one shot and you aren't afraid to take it. And if you do miss, you're not going to be stubborn about it and try to take another one. you're just going to reposition to try to get that free shot off every single time, which is good. That's a very good habit to have, or a habit to develop. But my issues with the play was that you really looked like you struggled to get an actual position and push into the enemy team. That shows that while you understand how to use your sniper defensively, you don't know how to use it offensively. And as it shows in this game, it's really hard to win games when you aren't pushing the pace or creating or cutting off lanes of traffic that your opponents can move through without getting punished for it. That really shows that the next step really for you to becoming a more aggressive sniper is better predicting how your opponents are going to move around the map. In general, in a threes map, by the time special spawns, you should know how the enemy team moves around the map or how certain players are playing, because they're not really going to change over the course of the map by that point. That's basically the time that you feel each other out. And again, my biggest issue really was how long you held your super for. You get it at 452 after the tether. You don't use the first super till 8:30. A full 3.5 minutes later. That's almost enough time to get a second super. It's better for you to just pop it right when you get it and try to make a play with it than to hold on to it because you're afraid of what the enemy team is going to do. The entire point of the enemy team running counter supers is to counter your super. But if you're not going to use your offensive super offensively, you're better off also running a counter super. Even if you only get one kill with it or you trade with one of the other supers, it's still in your favor because that super can't be used for a multi-kill at that point. Nova Bomb's really, really easy at both shutting down a super and killing multiple people that are following right behind them. It's a little harder to get those kills as a Striker Titan. You basically have to line up your Fist of Havoc perfectly. And it's pretty hard to do compared to a Nova Bomb. So it almost would have been better if you just ran Sunsinger and then popped Radiant Skin and kind of threw grenades at people and didn't even worry about getting counter supered because you'd probably be with the rest of your team anyway. If you're going to run Storm, then it's one of the most powerful supers in the game right now, right next to something like Golden Gun. So you should be using it like it's a powerful super, not being afraid that someone's actually going to kill you. Because worst thing that happens is you get one-man Nova bombed, and then the match goes on. And the best thing is you get at least one kill, and normally it's pretty easy to get at least a kill with Storm if you're popping around corners and blinking around people. You really need to be more aggressive as a sniper, like I said. And you had a pretty hard time pushing for map control and angles when you weren't pushing. There was a lot of kind of sitting around waiting for people to come into you. So that's really what I had to say about the stuff that you need to work on. So let's go ahead and look at the multi-view. So this is Tyrant Potato's point of view, the Striker Titan that's playing the Disruptor. And again, this is Solomon. So you can kind of see how he's moving around the map when he finally goes to challenge. And you can see Tyrant, he's sliding around the map. He's using his Juggernaut shield. He's pushing with his skates. So really, just watch Tyrant during this match. And see how he's playing. See how he's repositioning. He gets that challenge and then he goes to reposition. He's constantly going to be the flank, which means he constantly needs to be repositioning to try to get angles on the enemy team. Even though he has Juggernaut, he knows that they're all outside. It's really hard to push outside with Juggernaut. Tyrant doesn't make a whole lot of mistakes in this game until about the midway point when they start to lose momentum because of how Solomon's team switches up how they're playing. Because in the beginning, Solomon's team is trying to push for angles. They're trying to be really aggressive against 3 shotgunners. But they're aggressive in such a way that they actually push into the shotgunner instead of pushing to a point where the shotgunner has to come out of cover in order to push into them. But that's the hardest thing to do as a sniper, is to understand that a shotgun is your foil and you're constantly going to be at odds with each other, to create that space where you can comfortably engage with your sniper and not get killed by a primary, and also not be so close that it's really easy to push into you with that shotgun or get punished by Juggernaut shield. So he gets that tag on him with that lightning grenade, and instantly he's pushing him. A lot of people might be uncomfortable pushing around this corner, but with a shotgun, knowing that your opponent is weak, you can instantly push that corner as soon as you see that tag. And now he's in a really good spot. Like we saw earlier, he's going to die up top on heavy. Both of his teammates are. This puts you in a really good position for a flank. Your teammates are in B. Really, the enemy team, their only option is to push out through A. It's a really nice kill, and then he gets the second kill. Very easy. Very easy. He goes to chase while his teammate stays back for the res. Again, as the flanker or the disruptor, you have to be very comfortable in 1v1 engagements, and that's your time to shine right there. That's the exact kind of thing that you want to see as a flanker, is that you get that opportunity to clean someone up. So he utilizes a head glitch, gets a tag, and instantly pushes again. Constantly pushing. This push is a little suspect. I did appreciate that instantly he meleeed after he tried slide shotgunning, but that kind of push is pretty dangerous because you already know that they know that your teammates are across bridge. So that push into bridge is unsafe. It would have been better to push around and get a flank, where it would have been a lot easier to slide around cover to get closer, as opposed to sliding in the open to close the gap. It also means that if you hit the ground on your first skate, stop sprinting, start sprinting again, and then continue your skate, you can get your Juggernaut shield back up, so it'll actually be up by the time you need to slide around this corner in case someone pushes to you. It's those little things about Juggernaut that really set apart the people that are really good with Juggernaut and use it to the point where people get really annoyed by it and think it's actually overpowered, and the people that just use it because it's flavor of the month. So you see him wait. This is something that you want to do if you're playing with a team or not, or even solo. You want to wait to see how the engagement plays out, just because it's a free 50 points if it comes in your favor. And if your teammate ends up dying, you didn't lose anything really by waiting, aside from map control. And even that can be regained if you're methodical about it. So you saw he was weak and he instantly pushed him with shotgun. That's the power of the shotgun. You don't even need to get into one hit range at that point. You can kill them from much further out if they have no shield. Gets that really nice slide kill and it pushes back into his teammates. And they're on constantly. They're on to pushing another corner. So they just died outside. The way they're positioned on the board is that they're gonna likely be split spawned, one outside, one inside, or two outside, one inside, or however it wants to split spawn them. But by controlling the center of the field, you're almost guaranteed to cause a split spawn, especially if they don't pick themselves up all at the same time. You saw that he was in the corner, but he doesn't really know how many people are there, and he doesn't need special, so this play is fine. Giving up temporary map control for your power weapons is always a good idea. The last thing you want as a shotgunner is to run out of ammo. It really affects your ability to move around the map. So this is a corner that I see a lot of people not really utilize on this map, but it's really nice for baiting people into you, especially if you run a shotgun. And it's relatively safe if they're not running a Titan. If he was not running Fist of Havoc there, he would not have gotten that kill. 100%. That's why he went Fist of Havoc. Get kills like that. And those are the kind of supers that it's okay to use as a Titan. If you get it early, just burn it. Continue to use it for for momentum. And something a lot of people don't talk about is that orb that you get from that super potentially shores up the weakness that you no longer have a counter super up for their storm or their gunslinger or whatever it is that you need to shut down, arc blade, hammers, whatever. That orb really cuts the time that you're unsafe to those supers. So use them early and use them often. If over the course of the match you get 3 kills utilizing your supers, and then that 1 kill with the power super kills your entire team, it's net 0. And you can utilize that that momentum that you gain in a much better way than if you just save it for the counter super. So they push up to get an angle. No one's there, so he's pushing up closer to see where they are. It's dangerous to push out in the open, so he's pushing around. His teammate gets domed. He's trying to get an angle here. He gets a tag. It's 2 tags. But he pushes around. He doesn't really read his map very well. If he would have stayed there, or stayed on the stairs and turned around, he would have been able to kill him. So he actually over-pushed. And that's something that a lot of Titans, like, and myself included, really struggle with. It's over-pushing. So I don't really like this push that he makes with the shotgun. He gets lucky because Solomon isn't paying attention, but you're basically pushing into a location where you're pinched, where even if you get 1 kill, you're probably going to get shot in the back and you're going to die for it. As the leader on the map, you're worth an extra 50 points. So it's really dangerous to die, especially if they get a res off of it, because they essentially go up a kill on you, even though you end up trading. And that's going to make a difference. I mean, at the end, we saw it was really, really close. So you see, he's in B and they're going outside through A. So he's basically cutting off any point to control the center of the map. He's going to pop up on radar, so he's going to push around to challenge. Good slide. He knows that the enemy team is sniping, so he's going to slide around this corner. Slide to challenge. Slide to challenge. And then he doesn't see anyone, so he backs off. You don't need to stay there. If no one's there, there's no point in you staying there to try to cover that angle anymore. You got to figure out where the enemy team is actually going to. So he's absolute. Got a tag on another guy, but again, that's a really unsafe place to push. He could have pushed if he coordinated with his teammates to push out at the same time, and they essentially pinched the enemy team. He's really in a rough spot as far as being in line of fire. But even if he gets 1 or 2 body shots off on the enemy team, that's really good because his teammates can clean up as they flank around. They don't really push all the way out. Again, he's challenging from the open. You want to hug this wall. You want to cover your body when you challenge out snipers out in the open like that, because you're going to get torn apart by primaries unless you're exposed as little as possible. If he just had a shotgun out there, it would have been a free kill. But he has a super. And he pushes it around for really no reason. There's no real reason you need to push that corner like that. You don't have a great angle on anyone. You don't have any cover to dip back into. You're completely exposed once you leave that area. Again, he gets up, he pushes for map control. He knows where the enemy team just was, so he pushes in the location that hopefully it's difficult for them to fight. As soon as you get shot in a challenge like this and you don't return fire, you need to take cover immediately, because there's no way you're going to win that team fight. or that challenge. So they get a wipe, and they should be pushing outside, which is what they're doing. By this point, you should actually be outside instead of here, giving them advantage again, because it's really hard for primaries to challenge snipers out in the sun like that. There are a lot of head glitches, and it's really rough as far as getting a proper shot off. Again, like I said, you want to be covering your body. It's really dangerous to push out here into people, and he gets double bodied by Solomon. So this is probably the point of the map when they start to lose control of the pace. They've basically just been wiped. The enemy team's playing outside, which means you have to push out as a team through one direction. Normally that way is through C side, C door over here, or straight through B. But you need to go as a team. You can't be going out by yourself. At this point, he should be changing up his tactics and no longer being a disruptor and sticking on his teammates. Because you know the enemy team is always going to punish you for that kind of thing. So Godfather pops his super and doesn't really do anything. You don't want to challenge in the open like that. Push all the way out. Challenge once you're outside of an open doorway. So he gets baited into this this tether really nicely. It's a really good play by Zach. He gets sniped by melee, and then this is when Godfather tries to go pick him up and gets domed. As you can see from his point of view, he wasn't really looking around. So if you're dead and you're waiting for res, you should at least be looking around to see if anyone's there. So he gets that kill for free and then pushes up and around. If you get a free kill like that, you don't need to continue trying to get kills. You can just pull back. It's okay to give him the 50 points. You're still going to be up by 50 points. It's better that you don't die and you give them a free res than trying to be a hero and going for a big play like that. So this is where he goes for that challenge, and we're going to see... So yes, it's a really good challenge. I really like this challenge. So he gets the shot off, and then he just doesn't pull out his primary. There's plenty of time for you to pull out your primary. Did you have your grenade up? I don't... You did. You even had your grenade up. So you could have potentially grenaded the wall behind. You could have used your super here. You had a lot of options. Using your shotgun at pulse rifle range is not one of them. So you see that they've closed the gap. They're only 25 points behind. We're going to see he comes right to the edge. So the reason why he didn't smash forward is because he held back. If you hold back as a Titan, you smash in place. I'm pretty sure he thought he was over the edge, but very clear he was not. If you're absolute like that after a challenge, just dip back into cover. Even if someone's pushing you, it's more dangerous for them to push into you when you have a shotgun while you're weak. It's sort of like cornering an animal and then trying to pick it up. It's really scary, and you shouldn't try to do it. Ever. I think it's a very cheeky lightning grenade kill at the very end. So... Burning Shrine. So let's talk about the tic-tac-toe on Burning Shrine. Basically, you can divide Burning Shrine into 3 sections. Each way. Well, let's make it a little bigger than that. So you basically have this area here, this area here, this area here. Let's see how I want to do this. Okay. So when you play this map, basically you can cover all these locations in a sort of tic-tac-toe kind of formation. So, and every one of these locations has a different advantage over another. And this is how you gain map control on this map. As a sniper, there are a lot of positions that you can go to that are really effective at covering ground. So let's say, so we have 1 through 9. So I will now refer to these as 1 through 9 as I erase all of this. If we are on 7, we can now cover into 4 from Heglitch Rock. We can cover any push into 8 and any push around into 9. What does that mean? Well, that means that this location here is the engagement zone for the enemy team. As long as we cover any push coming out onto us, we can stay where we are. Especially if you have a lead. If you want to play passive, you can play passive. A lot of people will be really irritated by that, but if you have a lead, you really don't have to do anything for the rest of the match. You could literally not move for the rest of the match and win the game if you have the lead. You don't have to push into anyone to try to make plays. Obviously you should, because you want to keep momentum up. But you don't really have to. So again, from 7, you cover the center blocks. Let's say we move to 8. We're on heavy. Well, now our sniper lanes, we can no longer cover 4, but now we can cover 7, 8, 9, 5, and for a little bit we can cover 2. Why can we cover 2? So if you stand on these edges here above heavy, you can actually snipe onto bridge. You can snipe all the way back this angle. If you're on the other side, you can snipe this direction. And you basically cut off any ability to move through the very center of the map from top heavy. Your teammates ideally should be posted up close to you or in such a way that they can tell you when you're going to get flanked. So the primary angles that you're going to get flanked if you're on top heavy are through 4 down into 7 or through 6 down into 9. You already are covering the push through 5, the front. So your teammates should be posted up somewhere around here, maybe back on the Heglitch Rock. Basically anywhere that you can go back into cover and go to support fire for when you get pushed. Okay, so let's say we've spawned out on 9. So 9 is probably the worst, one of the worst spots on the map to actually try to control, because it's basically free access through all of this here and here. So we get access to 3, 6, and 8. The problem is we're cornered already in 9. And being cornered in 9 means, and especially with no cover behind you, you're basically a sitting duck. So when you see people play on Burning Shrine, on Trials, and they're sitting in the alpha spawn, not moving out to Heglitch Rock, they're just waiting for you to come down, see flag, through C stairs, and get domed somewhere around C special. This team's very dumb if they do that. Because the enemy team can completely ignore this path to get to you. They don't have to go this way. They can actually flank you as an entire team here. And then the head glitch that you have set up out on these stairs or out by these boxes is no longer a head glitch. You're just completely exposed. There's no real good way for you to rotate back into cover or to escape, really. Because how open this area is, especially if they come up here on top heavy, you can shoot down to cut off the escape. I would argue that the most important point on this map to control is somewhere around the bridge. And that's because of how the map is set up. So if you can cover a bridge, you get a lot of pushes back into cover. It's a choke point. It's good for shotgunners. And you can reposition during wipes in such a way that you can easily move into the center of the map. And if you move into the center of the map, you can cause split spawns really easily by someone spawning all the way back wall or over in C flag, and someone's out here by head glitch rock, and someone spawns out here in alpha. And then you get your pick of the litter. Do you want to push outside as a team? Do you want to send a flanker outside and send 2 to the 2v2 and have these even fights? And then as soon as you wipe them, you can move right back into the center of the map and do it all over again. And you can basically guarantee that the enemy team is never going to spawn together as long as you keep up the pace. So why don't we want to control 5, knowing that the center of the map is the most powerful? Well, that's because it's the easiest lane to flank, because you can get flanked from literally anywhere. You have no idea where someone is going to come in to flank you. With a sniper, with a shotgun, with a primary, whatever. This is just as bad as 9 to control. At least with 5, you have the opportunity to move around the map, to rotate either as an individual or as a team. Unlike 9, where you're cornered and you have to fight your way out. But still, as you can see, if the enemy team has any kind of coordination, they don't even necessarily need to push you as 3. They can fight you from 3 different locations and then relocate to another location, and you have no idea where you should be pushing. If you manage to get caught in 5 and you're getting fought in 5, you need to push out as a team. Because it's likely that the enemy team is split, attacking you from different directions. So if you push out at 5, let's say you all want to push this way. So all 3 of you need to push through the wheel to cut this person off. Then when you get to 4, that's when you can turn around and you can challenge these directions. Or you can pull out outside and get angles through someone attacking you through 5. Another important thing to note is where special spawns on this map. You have A special in 4, C special in 6, and then middle special out in 2. That means when special is up, you need to be able to control traffic through 5. And then also the choke points here. When special spawning, if you just sit on bridge, either side of bridge, as a sniper, you can cover this entrance. As a sniper here on A bridge, you can cover this entrance. And that gives you access to all 3 specials, and you can starve your opponent. That's a very powerful thing to do in 3s. Because as soon as they run dry, they have to start challenging you with primaries, which means their ability to push you after a team wipe is very, very poor. It's very easy if you have a shotgun to finish off pushes or to properly defend yourself during a split. So controlling bridge area during special spawn is very, very important. If you're on trials, there's lots of different ways that you can get good angles on people moving around the map. Burning Shrine's a really hard map to play on if you're trying to carry people, because there's so many different angles and head glitches you have to deal with that most of the time You're either punishing someone for going to head glitch because you know the exact location where the head's going to be, or you're going to a 50-50 because that's honestly your best shot at getting free kills, which is, it's rough. It's very rough trying to go to 50-50s to get these kills. As a team, it's a lot easier to win a match if you're rotating through these locations to gain map control and just constantly moving around the map. Because the angles are constantly going to change. You're going to be able to get different shots on different people. And since we know that 5 and 9 are basically the worst spots on the map to go to, if you rotate around the map, you can force the enemy team to end up in these positions. Especially 9. If you're Bravo team and you push outside and you send someone else to C flag, you basically pinch them in this area here. And then they're pretty much dead. And you didn't even need to shoot at them. If you just force them into this location, it's on you to lose the match at that point. 5, same thing as I said before. If you push them into 5 by playing point, which actually spawns, the point actually spawns on this side here. If you force them to play point, then you can basically challenge from any direction that you want, really. Up close from bridge, out far at specials, even on, if they're not quite on the point yet, you can pick them off from behind. And it's pretty common, in my experience, for a few rounds to go to time because of how much people love coming out here on Head Glitch Rock or on the shelf over here and just sitting there the entire match. And if that happens, you just sit here on the point. You wait for them to push into you because they can only push into you through here. And if you post it up on bridge and you have one guy capping the point, there's nothing they can do to push in through here because you're going to have sniper lanes on them. I've covered this a few times before, but again, if you're going to snipe on this map, really good spots are obviously the Head Glitch Rock, out here on the shelf, up here on top heavy. There's a head glitch out here on the stairs. There's a head glitch here on C special, on the shelf here, on the stairs here, on the stairs back here. You can head glitch the roundabout. You can head glitch these stairs. Where else? Oh, you can get an okay head glitch here based on the elevation of someone outside. And so basically, as you move around the map, there's different power points that you can set up with your sniper. As we saw that Solomon was kind of struggling for positioning, as a sniper, you can pick any of these spots as you move around the map. Obviously, the worst spot, as we can see, as a sniper, is on this left side of the map because your options are limited. But if he just sticks to the right side here, C and B, then he really creates a lot of situations moving around in a circle where he has good shots on basically everyone. Also, as a shotgunner, it's also really good to go around that same rotation because this area here is almost completely open. There's basically no space here. I wouldn't say ignore this route, but knowing that there's no real good cover here means that this lane from Bravo spawn out to outside A is the best flanking route to move around the map. But you just have to keep in mind, if you do end up flanking from Bravo to outside A or from outside A into Bravo, if you get caught at any point, you have to be very good about dipping back around a wall and knowing where your escape routes are. I mean, there's a box here you can hide behind. Pretty much it's a death trap if you decide to go out of this door, out from A special into outside A. It's very bad, as you saw a few times Potato would push out and die. That happens a lot. Basically, if you're going to challenge its head glitch rock, you need to be a sniper. And normally you need a challenge from top stairs and snipe when they move to shelf or above shelf. If you're a sniper outside and you want to push for position, you don't really want to move past shelf because this is your last opportunity to have cover. So this basically limits your engagement range to right just into 4 and not all the way back into 1. You can't cover 1 anymore because the angle that you have to get to, location you have to get to in order to shoot into 1 is actually outside of cover. It's about here. And you can shoot up into stairs. And it's pretty hard to move all the way into this corner or all the way here without getting killed by primary or team fire or just getting domed by a sniper. Also, if you move to this location, if anyone decides to flank you on top heavy, they have a really good shot on you. So, although you can challenge 1 if you absolutely have to, this is the only place you can do it from. So do your best to try not to do that. The last thing I wanted to point out was during the match, the importance of being aware when you're the leader on your team. And I say leader, and that just means that you have the most points on your team. When you have the most points on your team, when you die, you give the enemy team an extra 50 points. Which means that every time you trade, they're already up 50 points. And if they get a res, they're up a full kill on you. Which means that as the leader, it is your job to no longer die. And that's really, it sounds really stupid. But if you're the leader and you're a flanker, that means your flanks have to be perfect. They have to be either hyper aggressive, in which you always trade and your teammates are always there to help pick you up, or they're hyper defensive in that when you do flank, you flank in such a way where your engagements, you get 2 shots off before someone notices you instead of 1. It's very important that you don't die because that's the way you catch up as the enemy team. You kill the guy that's highest, or you trade with the guy that's pushing you 1v1, and you go up a kill. And you go up 100 points. You go up 100 points. You go up 100 points. Before long, your 900 point deficit that you started the game with is now a 100 point win. Also, something that I didn't point out is that Solomon's team did a really, really good job of team fire. And that shows by the fact that they had, not only did they have 9 revives during that match, which was 1 more than the enemy team, they had 17 assists. And they had a total of 30 kills. So of their 30 kills, over half of them were a team effort. Whereas on the opposite end, the Tyrant's team had 36 kills, but they only had 10 assists, and they only had 8 reses. So although they had more kills, essentially they lost because Tyrant kept dying, and all of his pushes were solo. So they didn't get the extra 50 points from assisting. Tyrant actually only had 1 assist the entire match, which makes sense as a disruptor. You tend not to get very many assists. You're either cleanup crew or you're the first one there and you clean everyone up yourself. So that's not really surprising. But it does show you that although it's very powerful to have a 2-1 split with 1 disruptor and then 2 teammates that are firing together, and I'll have to come up with a clever term for that. But it shows that if you can just constantly trade with the disruptor or just shut him down, that you're eventually going to pull ahead by constantly keeping the enemy team in a 2v3. And as the flanker, it's your job to make sure that you recognize when you can no longer perform your role well enough, that it's a boon to your team, and that it's becoming a detriment. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys today. As usual, you guys can ask me anything. I'll do my best to answer it. So I open the floor up to you guys. Oh, there's a question earlier. Love to hear about the strategic goals of aggressive play. Is it primarily mid-map control or more so just controlling whatever will be more disruptive to the other team? The idea of aggressive play, truly aggressive play, is not map control, it's spawn control. There's a difference between, I would say that there's 3 primary ways to play the game. There's passive, there's aggressive, and there's assertive. Aggressive would be spawn control, assertive would be map control, and passive would be zone control. So let's drop some options to show you guys what that actually means in practice. So zone control means if we have our zones on the map, we control one of these zones and the pushes into them or the pushes out of them. So if we're on 8 and we're a passive team, we would be controlling 5 to... We'd be controlling pushes through 6. We'd be controlling pushes through 4. We don't really move around the map. Even if we get a team wipe, we don't really need to push because we know these are our zones and this is what we need to cover. So that's an example of passive. Assertive would be map control. So again, we have our points. Assertive would be a hallmark of a rotational style of play. So we start on 7 and we cover any pushes into us from these locations. Okay, no one's coming. So we move on to 4. Now we're covering pushes through 1. We're covering all the way across. We're covering behind us. Okay, no one's coming. Now we're pushing on to 5. Now we're covering all directions. So we can kind of scout out where they actually are. Okay, they're out in 3. We think they're out in 3. So we're going to rotate to 6. So this is how you control zones of the map as you move around. So you're here, and then you're aware of, well, they could come from behind us now. They could come from 9, and we know they're on 3. So we can rotate all the way through to 3 and kill them. But it's slow and it's methodical, but it isn't as susceptible to being flanked. The aggressive and passive styles are at odds with each other because aggressive players have to push through the zones that the passive players want to cover. So it's difficult to get a proper flank off unless you do a distraction, basically. You push 2 guys through 5 into 8, and you send the flanker through 4. And they're so focused on the people in B that the flanker kills everyone. Or gets really good shots off, and you can actually afford to push all the way out of B into 8 and engage in close quarters. It's really hard to flank rotations because the flank is constantly changing if you're constantly moving around the map. So if you're on 6 and you're going 2-3, the flank is 9 and the flank is 5 or 4, depending on your weapon type. Once you move to 3, now the flank has changed. Now the flank is 1 or 2. And those are your only flanks because maybe you turned around and started going towards 6 and 9. Rotation is the easiest way to counter the 2-1 split that a lot of teams pull with Titans. If you have multiple Titans, normally I've played with 3 Titans before, and it's pretty difficult for a lot of teams to keep up with 3 flankers that know when to properly disengage. It's rare. You normally don't see 3 Titans, even now with the meta switching to Striker because of... It just has a solid kit. I wouldn't say Striker's overpowered. Striker hasn't changed in forever. But the kit does what you want it to, and it's good at what it needs to be good at. Just like how Night Stalker is still arguably the best defensive class because of Shade Step, even with the nerf. Striker is arguably the best offensive class because of Skating and Juggernaut Shield and Shoulder Charge and these tools that you have in the bag. So the final style I'll cover before we move on is Aggressive. And Aggressive is about spawn control. And so that's what I mean when I say pushing the pace. Pushing the pace is a hallmark of an aggressive team. Personally, I would prefer playing the assertive style of map rotations and map control, but that's very hard to do because it requires a lot of coordination from your team and really the ability to cover your back and constantly be willing to readjust. If you play as a sniper on an assertive team, you basically don't really use your sniper very much, except for prediction shots. You have to be really good at predicting where people are going to move as you rotate around. You have to take a lot of reaction shots, quick scopes, no scopes, things like that, because you just don't have time to line up a shot like you do if you're passive or if you're aggressive. Aggressive actually has more time to line up a shot than assertive. So if you're super aggressive, you basically want to know, you have to constantly keep track of where you are, where your teammates are, and generally understand the timing of when enemy teams are going to pick themselves up. So like I said, if we're in 5, we're going to cause split spawns. So an aggressive team would move as a team or split off into 2 groups to push when you get spawned. So let's say you spawn out in 9 and you died in 5. That would mean that this team, as soon as they kill you, maybe they count to 3 and then they start pushing. They're pushing out through 5 onto 8 to get this angle up top to shoot you off spawn. Maybe they're pushing around through 7 to get a long snipe on you. Or they're pushing out around 6 through into 9 to kill you again off spawn. And as soon as they kill you, so now you're dead in 9, you're likely going to spawn back here in 1, 2, or 3. They're going to do it all over again. Maybe they don't even count this time. Maybe you've just died and they're already sprinting to get through 5 all the way back to back wall. Maybe they're trying to get to bridge as fast as possible. So as soon as you spawn on back wall, you're getting sniped from these angles. And they're going to do that the whole map. It's much easier to adopt an aggressive playstyle on really small maps, such as Asylum. Asylum is a perfect example of being able to play really, really aggressively because it's very easy to get from A to C on the map in the time it takes for you to spawn. Let's say you die in Cafe. The team is normally about at parking by the time you actually spawn back here, which means that if they come through B, they're already in boxes, and your only option is to actually corner yourself to properly escape. If you watch really high-level sweats, sweaty players love Asylum because once you get your momentum going, it's really, really easy to control spawns. And it's a very, very fast game when you start getting spawns controlled. And it's very interesting from the enemy team when you are controlled off a spawn to properly slow the game down enough to regain control of the map. And then you can do the same thing. Then you can kick up the pace and start pushing the spawns of the enemy team. Okay. So, question: spawning Bravo in trials. What are some good or great strats like routes or splits? Okay, so we are spawning in Bravo, and this is a trials map. So that means our enemy team is spawning in Alpha. Now, on round 1, normally the wheels are closed, which means that you have no shot from bridge. What that means is basically most of the engagements on round 1 are going to be bridge to bridge, and C flag to C special, and head glitch to A special. Round 1 is really your opportunity to feel out how your opponent is going to move around the map. As Bravo team, if you're worried they're going to go to head glitch rock, do not go to 4. 4 is instantly off limits for you if you're afraid that they're going to go to head glitch rock. Let's say all 3 of them are snipers, and you've seen it before. 3 snipers post up here, here, and here, and you can't move into them at all. And you have to play the point. That's fine. But again, it depends on what the enemy team is doing, and you should really be willing to lose the first round in order to feel out how your opponent's going to play the match. If they do end up going out to head glitch rock, a really good opening for Bravo teams is to rotate all the way out here or across, same thing. And you can send one person as a distraction if you want, because normally people are going to be spread out outside. So maybe this guy keeps these 2 occupied and Bravo team gets the flank on the guy that's above, and then they can rotate around to get more kills, and this guy can move in once it's a numbers advantage. So basically moving to C flag and outs, and then going from 3 to 9 is a really good play. So you would go you'd go 1 to 2 to 3 to 6 to 9, and then you decide where you need to fire. So that's a really, really simple opening that you can do in basically every time. If the enemy team wants to push on to 6, if you're comfortable with sniping, you can snipe through here from 3. This is a pretty difficult sniper line. It's not quite the normal 50-50 because this line here requires a lot of map knowledge on where the head is actually going to be on the shelf. It's also difficult to do because you can head glitch on C stairs. So you need to be aware of where the head glitch is on C stairs. But you can try this going to 3. This is kind of a advanced, I need to be really comfortable with my sniper kind of play. Otherwise, you can cover any rotations by sitting on C bridge. You can rotate all the way out through 8 into 9 to get a flank. Or you can actually go into 5, make sure you shoot the box here, make sure you kill this box so you don't die as soon as you hop down to challenge the corner. So you normally want to challenge from the corner here or this corner here and use the wheel to your advantage. You almost never want to jump on top of wheel unless someone is trying to move around the map. If someone's running, then it's okay to jump on the wheel. Otherwise, stay off of it because you're going to be completely exposed. If you do end up jumping on it, do your best to try to jump on the edges so that way it's easy for you to drop down into cover. But I wouldn't recommend trying to do anything on wheel or on top of pillar. Again, no cover. You can get shot from basically anywhere. On heavy round, as Bravo team, I really don't like covering this heavy because it's really hard to make anything happen from this heavy as opposed to this heavy. This heavy, as soon as you move into 6, it's pretty easy to cover anything. It's very difficult to take this heavy and actually get all the way into 6 to cover pushes inside. So if I'm Bravo team on trials, I normally just push straight out. As a Titan, you can skate here, and then if you hit the wall, you should be able to careen yourself at an angle that you can get a good death from above this way. In the montage that I had, the entire clip is actually from spawn, and I do exactly that. I spawn here, I hit this wall, I come at this angle, I get really high, and then I death from above the 3 players that are here. And that was on heavy round. So that's basically what you want to do as a Titan. Another good thing to do if you're going to push outside and you're not a Titan is go around this pillar. You can either attack from either side or actually on top of it. On top of it, I don't think you can quite see the heavy, but any other direction you can. I would not suggest pushing through 6 to 9 because it's normally too slow. You won't actually get to heavy in time. If you have a super that requires you to pop it behind cover with like an arc blade or a storm trance or a golden gun, pushing into bridge onto pillar and then popping it above B and then moving down to challenge, or killing anyone that's sitting up here is really good play. If you pop arc blade in the air up here, you should be able to get 1 or 2 swings to get on top and then get 2 or 3 good swings off before it runs out. So I would say, to completely answer your question, great strat. Rotate this way. Good strat. Rotate through bridge. Maybe go outside here. And then bad would be straight out to A. What are some ways to bait people as a sniper? Is it just getting them to chase you through a choke situation, or is there something more advanced? So I touched on this a little bit, but it's really utilizing your radar based on distance. You need to play on the ground a lot as a sniper if you want to bait people. And that means a lot of crouching. Every time you hardscope, I would crouch, count to 3, and then get up and reposition. If you're standing straight up here and you're sniping this direction, you're going to show up on radar, so they're going to know somebody's outside, and they're not really going to just walk out on the stairs if they know you're outside. However, if you're crouched, you're going to blip off radar, which means they're going to think you moved back somewhere over here, and they might just come out and try to challenge, and you're going to get a free shot off. Time you wouldn't want to crouch is if you're on bridge and they're coming out through 7 into 4, because you want to get that sight line off. You want them to know where you are in this situation, so they actually pull around the corner, because they're going to think if you're showing up on radar and the radar shows that, let me draw a circle real quick. If the radar shows that you're somewhere over here when your location is here, they're going to think you're in 5. They're not going to think you're on bridge, or most people won't, at least. So they're going to come out here to challenge you. But mostly you just need to move and slide more as a sniper in order to properly bait people, because it's really disruptive to have you blip in and out of radar based on where you are. They're going to have no idea where you're moving. If you're here and then all of a sudden there's a blip over here, and they don't see you for a while, and there's a blip here, and there's a blip over here. They can't really track you very easily, so they're not going to know necessarily what's safe to push in and what's not, or even really how you're rotating around the map. Getting someone to chase you through a choke point is a lot easier if you're absolute, and you are absolute quite a bit from lightning grenades. That's actually the perfect opportunity to bait someone into a choke point. So one of these occasions that you got lightning grenaded here, and they're somewhere over here, it doesn't matter. But this is your opportunity to push out onto the head glitch. So now we're out here on the head glitch on stairs, waiting for them to push into us. Completely in the open, completely exposed. There's just this little box here, and most people that are pushing you are going to slide past that box to try to challenge. This gives you a perfect opportunity to make a nice, neat mid-range shot. Even if you get a body shot off, if you were absolute, now you're both absolute. So you've turned a situation where it's, maybe 10-90 in their favor to a 50-50, or better, because you're on a head glitch. And then you can finish them off with a primary or just another body shot. Or maybe you just dome them immediately after rounding the corner because you know they're going to round the corner. When you're absolute, it's good to run away, but it's better to use that to your advantage. So even though you're weak, think about how you can use that to your advantage. It's going to be hard, controlling your adrenaline and all that stuff, but you got to stay focused on how you can actually turn something into your favor. And that's what you constantly want to be thinking about as a sniper. Because as a sniper against shotgunners, you're basically, if you're familiar with fighting games, you're playing footsie. So there's an engagement space that every shotgunner wants to get you in. So here you are with your sniper, and here's the shotgunner. So the space that the shotgunner can kill you in is from here that way, right? So as he moves forward, right now you're in a safe distance to challenge with your primary, to challenge with your sniper, whatever. You're safe. If at any point you stand still and he moves forward, effectively eliminating some of the space, now he's only half the distance to kill you. And if you don't move again and you're still trying to kill him, like primary him down, now he's in shotgun range. So you have to play this seesaw game where you can take a shot, but then you need to move back. And you need to keep this distance that's safe, where let's say he could slide from here, get to this point, and then kill you. So this is the slide. If if you can keep him out of the slide range, then you're gonna win every single time that he pulls out his shotgun. But if you are like a lot of players that I see that complain about every little thing with a shotgun, you're not going to move during these situations. And you're going to let him close the gap for free, get to that point where he can one-hit kill you, and then you're going to be you're going to be one bullet short on your last word because you can't move back anymore, or you didn't move at all. And you're going to hit him 3 times, and then he's going to shotgun you. And you're going to be like, oh, shotguns are so overpowered. Why is my last word killing him? I thought this gun was supposed to counter shotguns, etc., etc. In the case of Juggernaut as a sniper, there's a few things you can do. The first is you can run sticky grenades if you're a class that can run sticky grenades. If you're a Night Stalker, you can throw a smoke. But if you're any class, you can utilize horizontal movement. The thing about Juggernaut is if it's being used, it's only being used in one direction, and that's straight forward. If you're here and the Juggernauter is here, they can only kill you this way. All you need to do is move at an angle horizontally, either perpendicular or at an angle, so that way they can't get to you, get into that one hit range, and they actually have to turn, the turning radius is lower because you actually have to be sprinting to keep up Jug, and while you're sprinting, your turning radius is reduced. So if they actually have to turn, they're gonna, instead of making the on the dime turn that a shoulder charge would use. So let's say he's shoulder charging, he gets here, you move here, he can just instantly shoulder charge at a 90-degree angle and continue skating at you and kill you. If he's running Jug, he actually has to make a big loop to keep Jug up and still push you. And if he has to make a big loop like this, that still gives you an opportunity to keep backing up or even run away. So really, to be a successful sniper and to properly bait people is to really keep that engagement range and to learn your footsies. And just always keep that distance. It's just as important, and I would say if you're a sniper and you have never shotgunned, you're uncomfortable shotgunning, work on a few games every now and then. Just take out a shotgun, and don't do it to get kills with the shotgun. But figure out when you do get those kills that you do, remember where that one-hit kill range is and what it looks like, and then you'll know, maybe precisely, maybe not, the distance that it's going to be where you are safe as a sniper. In trials, Bravo spawn is definitely the one that requires you to think a lot more. If you're alpha team, then it's pretty easy to just sit on head glitch and be a better sniper than 90% of the players, which some players just are. But yeah, Bravo spawn, it gives you a lot of interesting puzzles that you have to solve to get to this point where you can kill these players safely, really, because the biggest issue is always going to be you can't really challenge these snipers that are positioned in such a way because they're all on head glitches based on where you want to challenge them from with a traditional sniper. If you're in these positions, they're going to be head glitched to you and you're going to be completely exposed. Same here. They're going to be head glitched and you're going to be completely exposed. If you push all the way out here, beyond B, outside, you don't even have any cover left to try to challenge the guy in head glitch rock. But the thing you have to remember about head glitches is they're only effective from that one angle. Or in head glitch rock's case, multiple angles. You have 2 here. So really, you have to figure out where the weaknesses of those head glitches are. In the case of being on shelf and being on head glitch rock, you're going to be most vulnerable out here or out here. because these aren't angles where it's a head glitch anymore. Now you're completely exposed if you're getting shot from this way or getting this way. And your shelf is actually a safer head glitch than the actual head glitch rock, because you can actually push back around this pillar if you're getting pushed from 9. You don't have that option if you're on the rock itself. Really, your only option is to try to run around, but this is completely open area, so your escape route is very, very unsafe. All right, so that's pretty much all I had for you guys. I'm gonna cut off questions now. If you are watching on YouTube, if you have questions, feel free to leave them in the comments, and I will try to answer them on the next episode. There won't be an episode this upcoming Saturday because I'm going to be gone for the American holiday. It's Independence Day. I'm going to be going camping. So I'll try to put something out on Monday when I get back, but it's going to be pretty impromptu, so I'll probably tweet when it's going to happen, and it'll be a shorter episode. But I'll be back. I should be back on a normal schedule next weekend. So every Saturday or Thursday and Saturday, I'll have more Saturday episodes coming up. But thank you guys for watching.